Hello guys and welcome to a new Wargame video today by me, Vulcan. Today I'm playing on the map Goal, and this is a 1v1. Me on the NATO side playing a US armoured deck, and Tico 303 on the enemy side on the Pact playing, I believe, the Russians. So this is a game that I wasn't too keen on sharing, but I decided to basically use it in the end because it really shows the importance of recon, especially in Wargame Airland battle. Now I haven't had a chance to emphasize anything like this yet because I've been playing live comms constantly. This is the first of many replays that I will be bringing out. Currently 10v10 replays seem to be broken, so I can't bring any of them, but I will still be doing live comm 10v10s instead, so you can look out for more of them. But in this game in particular, I'm using, like I said before, the US armoured deck, and down here you can see I've got one M1A1 Abrams, an M3 Bradley CFV, a couple of M35s. These have Rangers in them, which are recon infantry, and I've got a Chaparral and a Vulcan to protect this FOB and this base command vehicle. So basically, what my idea is that I need to get all the way up to here as quickly as possible and take the right side of this town. Now, the reason I don't want this town is because I'm playing an armoured deck, and with any armoured deck, there isn't much infantry, and that's especially the case for me. The only infantry versus infantry I have is Rangers, and obviously tanks can take out infantry, but not in towns, because the tanks would be so close that they'd just get one shot in the side by a rocket, which isn't ideal, and the last thing I want to do is get all my armoured column ambushed. So the idea is that I'll get all my armoured units over to the right side, and I'll have this massive field all the way up to his base to attack through. Now yes, there is a big ridge here that could be a potential to be ambushed from if he put tanks up here, but the likelihood is he's going to push more to the left side, and the reason I know this is because the sectors are more on this side. You can see the way the map's balanced is that I'll be going to the right side of this map. If we look at it from this direction, I'll be going to the right side, and he'd be coming down the left if he wanted to do a similar strategy. So that's the way the map's balanced. Now specifically, I want to capture Alpha as quickly as possible. That's just to bring in the extra supply points so that I can bring in more units quickly. So I did decide to bring in 2 CVs at the start of the game. Now I started with, I think it was 850 points. It was a 1,000 points each, and the win limit is 1,500 points, and the game time is 30 minutes, as you can see on the right here under the minimap. So yeah, with these 2 M1A1 Abrams, I've got 2 Chaparrals, 2 Vulcans, and obviously this M3 Bradley that I put down earlier, and that's basically my main force. Now you're probably looking at that and thinking that's not a lot of troops. Well, you'd be right, but these M1A1 Abrams, they are the best NATO tanks. Well, yeah, they're just the best NATO tanks at the moment, that is. And the reason for that is that they actually have very, very powerful cannons. Unfortunately, at the moment, I can't exactly show you the exact stats of these vehicles because there is no advanced sort of options on the UI in the replay at the moment, so I can't show you the information about specific vehicles. Anyway, the idea I've got going here is this M35 is going to travel all the way up to Foxtrot, sit in this forest area around here, and cover this area down here. So if I go down low enough, it will basically be able to scout across this field, which I'll be looking across while my armoured column sits on this side in this forest. So you can see I'm fast moving these vehicles down the road. They're going as quickly as they can with the 2 Chaparrals up front. That's not ideal, but it works. And this M35, I've got auto unloading over here somewhere so that I can put up the infantry up onto the side of this cliff, which will be looking all the way over this area on the left side, which is very, very nice. Now, with my new computer, I can zoom in a lot more, so I'm going to try and do that a lot because it looks nice. These units are very, very nice to look at. The chaparrals, and then you got the Abrams, and then you got the Bradleys, and then you got the Vulcans with their awesome miniguns on them. Look at that. That is just a beast. If I was in an aircraft, I would not want to bump into that. That would hurt very, very much. So here you can see I've spotted an Mi-24D very, very early on, and I'm just thinking, well, that's just a helicopter, and he's obviously seen my chaparrals, so he's flying away from that. But it seems that he's actually brought in Mi-24Ds with Spetsnaz, and that is why there is two Mi-24Ds back here. He's rushed them forwards and dropped the Spetsnaz and then flown away. What he doesn't do properly is get the Mi-24D back far enough, and you can see he takes 4 missiles from the chaparral straight in the face, and that is an easy 60 points to start off. Now the Spetsnaz are still in this location, and my Abrams are getting scarily close, so I do decide to pull them away from the town. My Rangers in the meantime have unloaded from the M35 and moving up on the left. The chaparrals are sitting back, basically so they don't get caught out by these Spetsnaz, because the chaparrals don't have any armour, so the last thing I want to do is get them killed by light arms fire. Now they do have their own anti-air here, but I'm not too worried about this. Now the reason for that is because I'm not using an air deck, I'm using a armoured deck. And, well, basically I can get away with knowing that I'm not going to use any AA against him, and that basically tells me that he's wasted points on stuff I'm not going to use. Now later on in the game I do bring in some air units, so I do kind of like contradict myself there, but in terms of the actual strategy itself, there was no intention to bring in air. It was just by the end of the game, it got to the point where air was just, I just could. I did because I could. That was basically it. Now, here are some reinforcements coming up. We got some starships here. These are pretty ugly tanks with auto cannons on the top. I think that's actually a Browning machine gun. They got access to ATGMs and a main cannon, which is good against infantry. But in the meantime here we got a Bradley taking out a VDV squad, which was dropped off by one of those Mi-24Ds. And back here we've also got a couple of cargo trucks coming up the road, which is pretty cool. So yeah, now a good combination that I like to use is these are LAD red eyes in the M113A1 Dragon, and the M113A Dragon comes with an ATGM built onto the top of the APC, which is very, very nice. And basically what I do is I move them up to the front line, I'll drop out the AA, and so the AA is there to protect the Dragon, and then the Dragon can basically act as a stable ATGM vehicle. Here I've also got an IFV Bradley with an ATGM squad in as well. These guys have an ATGM Dragon 2 team in, which are a lot more accurate than the normal Dragons. So basically I didn't want to push them straight through the town because obviously the Spetsnaz are still there and other infantry units, so as soon as they get close I move them round to the right side to join up with the rest of my armoured brigade. But basically I've got into a position that I wanted to already. So you can see here that my Abrams and my chaparrals and Bradleys and so on are on the right side covering this field. The only death so far is this here, this helicopter, and of course the infantry that I've killed over here as well. So got to do the same with all of my units. So basically most of these are shift ordered, so I will fast move to this location, and then I hold shift and I right click over here. So they basically fast move to here and then come off the road there so that they don't run into the town and get themselves killed. Now what you can see me doing elsewhere on the map is at this point I've got enough points to bring in another CV. So I decided to go to Delta with that, so I can secure 9 supply points. I know my enemy's only on 3 currently, so if I can get an advantage early on and bring in a lot of armoured units, I'm going to be able to do a lot of damage. I've also got more M35s with Rangers coming in. Now these are literally going to be spread all over the map, and it's really something that saved me a few times, and it's why I would never underrate recon at all. Recon is just one of the most pivotal points, and this is one of the best demonstrations of recon I could ever have imagined, because it just shows how, like, on a knife edge the difference between having recon and not having recon is. So you saw an Mi-24D over here past these Rangers, which got spotted. I've also spotted these T-62s up here. This Bradley CFV does spot one and does manage to get 2 HGMs very accurately into the side of one of them, picking one of them off. It gives me another 65 points, puts me 165 points in the lead to my enemy's 1 point, which is basically from a transport truck. That's the only reason he has 1 point. Now, with the Mi-24D coming around the left, I knew that he would move something round here, and you can see here it is revealed with the M35 being stunned by the rocket pods. But what I didn't realise is that he's bringing around an Mi-2, and he does quickly spot my M577. But what I had already anticipated was that he was going to move his Mi-24D round to the left. So here comes a chaparral, which I've already brought in because of the reaction to these Rangers spotting the Mi-24D coming around to Delta. And basically I micromanage this M577 CPC so he's out of line of sight as much as possible, and it gives my chaparral time to get in range to shoot down this Mi-24D. Now he does bring in a MiG as well, but he does evac that as soon as he sees my chaparral shoot down the helicopter, and his Mi-2 flies away peacefully into the sunset. So with that was very, very close. You can see my CPC took 3 bars of damage from the Mi-24D's autocannon, and that could have been a lot worse had I not spotted the Mi-24D and not brought in the chaparral because of that. Now I shouldn't have really had an undefended CV, and that's something that probably shouldn't have happened in the first place, but it definitely shows how recon saved my ass there. So on the right side, in the meantime, I've got chaparral as well for this CV, because basically it reminded me, and I've also got these M35 cargoes to basically repair it should it need it, and give ammo to the chaparral. Now while I'm busy up here killing these T-62s, I do notice on the minimap the BTR-60s coming into range of my CV. Now ultimately they were just spotted because they got very, very close. That wasn't much to do with the recon. However, just having units in this area really basically allows me to spot this coming before they could do much about it. So here you can see the motor shell key and the BTR-60s make quick work of both my supply vehicles and my chaparral, leaving my M577 to run away. Now in reply to that, I have to bring in an F-15A Eagle. And the only reason I bring in an F-15A Eagle is because that was the only thing I had on hand. But instead of using it to attack the infantry, I decided to go for this recon helicopter instead. In the meantime, we've got a Thunderbolt. I did have a lot of points at this time because I had already taken the 3 sectors. Basically, with the use of the main cannon on the front of the A-10 Thunderbolt there, he goes straight in and destroys the motor shell key as quickly as possible. We can follow this guy around, then I task him to destroy both of those APCs, saving my CPC over here, which is running away with the help of the Eagle, which took out the motor shell key sitting with the Rangers over there. So there we go, that's some good effective use of air units. Now I know my A-10 Thunderbolt isn't most ideal for that situation, but it was the best reaction I had, and it did do the job and didn't get itself shot down. I know I'm in very, very friendly territory here. If they had any AA this far into the map, I would see it, because as you can see throughout the map I have spread out my Rangers. So with their job done, both of them get evac'd, and I immediately move my M577 CPC back into Alpha. So there again you can see not so much about recon, but more about me just being able to react quickly to avoid that, and keeping my CPC in a place that it does have cover from other units, and the other units will be found first. Now while that's all going on, I've been micromanaging my tanks up on the top here against, basically rushing towards hotel, and I see HDGem coming in from the right side, so I do reverse my Abrams away from that as quickly as possible. Now with that, I've managed to bring up all my reinforcements, and I'm basically getting them into positions to push over this hill. In the meantime though, I accidentally sent back a load of empty trucks into this town. He sends them right back at me because basically he's got infantry in this town, and I just sent supply vehicles straight into it, so he captured them, but he doesn't want them because they're empty, so he just sends them back to me. Now in the meantime over here, I do spot this on the map very quickly, and my rangers manage to snipe all these BTR-60 PAIs. And this is again the beauty of recon. I've basically spread out recon all over this map. I've got this going on up here. Yes, my Bradley did just get cluster bombed, but basically it's given me time to push up over here and not have to worry so much about my flanks over here, where my rangers have taken care of like 3 APCs coming down this road, which I wouldn't have done had I not spread rangers everywhere. Literally, if we look at the map, rangers, 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 and more rangers everywhere. That's basically the only infantry unit I'm using, other than the ones that come with my HGM dragons on the M113s. So here you can see one of my squads trying to do his best to snipe a BTR-60 PAI, which just dropped off 20 mode Strelky. So with that, with the BTR-60s running away, I try and get my HGM Dragon teams and Lad Red Eyes back as quickly as possible. Now, seeing how effective my Bradley was earlier against infantry, I decide to go ahead and push that up the hill to provide some fire support against these mode Strelky. Also, I've decided to push up this Dragon, M113 Dragon, to see if he can help out with his Browning machine gun that's on the top there. Now, obviously the Browning machine gun is not going to do a great deal of damage, but it does help with suppression a lot. But as soon as my Bradley gets here, you'll see just the firepower that really helps out. This Bushmaster cannon just absolutely rapes the Motor Strelky as soon as it gets on target. Now unfortunately for my HGM Dragon team, he doesn't survive, but with my Bradley there dealing some damage, it allows my starships to get up in time. Unfortunately, again, without much recon further up, I do suffer from another cluster bomb strike, which comes from basically an invisible aircraft, because I can't see it because I have no recon. And yeah, that takes out this M113 HGM and my Bradley, unfortunately. But yeah, you can see the cluster bombs have been changed since before. Basically, before, the cluster bombs used to just be a big bomb. Now they're actual cluster bombs, and they behave like cluster bombs, which is pretty cool. And they can be used to wipe out large concentrations of armor and infantry very effectively. But here, the starships are all I need to take care of the rest of those units. Now in the meantime, a chaparral gets taken out by some of these tanks on the right here that he's using with HGMs. And then on the left, we've got a BRM-1 coming down to poke into Delta. Now seeing this, I bring in an A-10 Thunderbolt, and boom, he does not last very long as my Thunderbolt flies away from that. Now in the meantime, my enemy's brought in a KA-50 but that also gets shot down by an extra chaparral that I had. Obviously he got a bit cocky because he thought that that chaparral that he killed was the only one I had, but I had backup chaparral here, and this managed to shoot down that 130 priced AA helicopter, sorry. But my last starship unfortunately gets taken out by a T-80U. So his 130 chopper got shot down for my 60 worth of starships. This T-80U is pushed forwards to try and take care of this other AA unit here. But what he doesn't anticipate is that my Abrams are now moved up. And unfortunately, it's time for his T-80U to die. Because even if he reversed it now, he probably wouldn't get out of range in time before this thing got blown up. He's still not firing at me because his weapon's jammed, he's got an optical failure, his fire computer is resetting. He's just completely bugged. And there goes the T-80U for 160 points. Very, very nice. In the meantime, I've got a Super Chinook up at the field. Basically, this Super Chinook is hiding behind the tree line. In the meantime, the M1 Abrams and the Chaparral are covering the front, and they're keeping this thing safe. It's not actually worth a lot of points. I think the Super Chinooks are worth about 65 points each, but still, you don't want to lose your main supply vehicle throughout the game. So basically, I use it to refuel my Abrams and my Chaparral, and in the meantime, I'm basically trying to find out exactly what I've still got to deal with. So I've got some M3 Bradleys down here. The M3 Bradleys are dealing with these Motor they bumped into, and the Rangers in the town unfortunately all got killed by the Spetsnaz that are still in there. Now basically, I've got these M35 cargoes trying to get home to resupply. Once again, Tico captures them, but unfortunately for him, my Bradley is just literally sitting here pounding the crap out of their Motor and eventually taking them all out. Again, I've got an M35 Thunderbolt coming in to deal with the final blow. I did make a lot of use of these. I didn't realise how effective they'd be against infantry, but then again, I guess with the minigun on the front of them, no infantry is ever going to last very long against them. I also use it just for fun to take care of these cargo planes down here. And you can see one HGM just blows up both trucks. It's a pretty cool thing about this game. The modern weapon systems on planes are actually correctly represented now, so the HGM Hellfire missiles actually explode like they would in real life. In the meantime, I've got my Abrams facing off against T-64 BMs. Basically, he's using his HGMs at the moment, they're SAC-LOS missiles, and in the meantime, I'm just peppering them with the very accurate cannons of my Abrams. Now, my Abrams haven't actually missed barely any shots. Meanwhile, their HGMs aren't doing too much damage. But you'll see, basically what happens is that this Abrams I have to micromanage forwards and backwards so that they start to target the M1A1 Abrams on the left side instead, because this M1A1 Abrams is only on 3 bars of health. He's using this T-64 BM and the T-62 M1 to target this M1A1 Abrams. Now at this point he goes down to a very, very low 2 health, but basically the whole meantime that this guy has been kiting these HGMs and stopping them from targeting properly, this Abrams has had the time to destroy the rest of the tanks. Now this Abrams helps with this recon, and then my M1A1 Abrams finishes off this little Conker's Jeep. Just watch him go boom. Poor guy. He was just sitting in the front seat minding his own business, and he takes an M1A1 Abrams shot into the face. Now I can't deal with more infantry firing at me with HGMs, so unfortunately for them, the Abrams moves forwards into range, and this one guy, he took another shell straight to the face. Now, what's quite funny actually, basically, in the army there's excessive force rules, so you can't like use a main gun of a tank to kill like infantry unless it's completely necessary. In that case, I think that was necessary. He was firing 80 gems at the Abrams. I think a shot to the face with Abrams was necessary. Anyway, at this point, I'm at 1,345 points to 364, and yeah, we're doing well. I've decided to bring in an EA6 Prowler. These are anti-radar AA, anti-radar AA jets. So basically, they have missiles that track radar AA and then kill them. So I've decided to bring one of these up to the field just in case something's going down, because currently in my arsenal at this point in the game I have 2 Thunderbolts, A10 Thunderbolts, and the F-15A Eagle to make use of. So I've still got my Abrams going on here, and I've sent my Super Chinook back to base to resupply. But in the meantime, I've decided to bring in another one because I don't have time to wait for this to resupply, because we've only got 7 minutes left in the game. Also got another CV coming in. This was planning on going to Charlie so that I could pull in units at this reinforcement point here, and then I could basically get them up to the front line quickly before doing anything else. So at this point it's getting pretty stagnated. I've covered the whole map. He's only got one sector, and I've got infantry. I've got infantry everywhere, which are acting as my recon. So he doesn't have much of a chance to catch me out anymore, and most of his units are stuck in Gulf. Now, I was getting kind of annoyed that the game was taking quite a long time, but I guess in this situation you didn't want to necessarily give up. I know some people hate giving up, and I can see why, especially when you've got Spetsnaz in my back garden. But unfortunately he bumped straight into my Rangers again. Them just being there, saving my ass against this M577 CPC, just in case these Rangers die. I moved back this CV and also this one that was coming up on the road, and I bring in an A10 Thunderbolt to finish off those Spetsnaz once and for all, and basically keep my CV safe. And with that, that's a very dead Spetsnaz unit. Now over here I spot an Su-25 coming across. This is a very good heavy attack aircraft, which basically does a lot of damage to things like CVs. So I'm getting a bit worried, and I do see him coming round on the right side. So what do I decide to do? Well, I thought it'd be a good idea to bring in an F-15 Eagle and try and shoot him down. So in I go with the F-15 Eagle. Unfortunately, the first anti-air missile misses. The second one hits him straight in the face, and then the third one unfortunately doesn't hit before the guy evacs. But very sexy aircraft nonetheless, and I'm sure that was eye candy for you guys. But my Rangers managed to hold out against the Spetsnaz, and now they're being fixed up once again, and my CV's moved back into position, and this one's moving up now to Charlie. So I haven't actually managed to show many clips of me using air much before, so it's quite nice to be able to show you the effectiveness of A10 Thunderbolt. A10 Thunderbolts are terrible if there is any AA anywhere, but I guess in this situation where you've got guys behind enemy lines, they can be very effective. Also, F-15As are awesome for anti-air, but in that situation he couldn't get there quick enough to shoot them down before they evac, so that's why it wasn't as effective as I would have had hoped. Now with the Super Chinook, has been here for a while, but he decided to randomly take off. I think I accidentally microed him, but told him to land again, and then I begin to move my Bradleys back into the resupply range. Basically at this point I need to get my Abrams and everything fixed up so that I can make the final push towards Gulf. There he brought in another aircraft, but he evac'd it as soon as he saw the chaparral shoot at it. But yeah, with Charlie secured, it's now time for me to bring in the big guns. And basically I can take in 8 Abrams in the US deck. So at this point I bring them in. all 6 extra Abrams I bring in, along with 2 M3 Bradley CFVs. And a big armoured column starts rolling down to the front line. Beautiful. Look at them go. But before they're even anywhere close, the enemy starts to make a move with a BRM-1. Now, unfortunately, this Bradley has a little bit of trouble firing at it because it keeps coming in and out of line of sight. But eventually he retreats it because obviously he doesn't want that being sniped very quickly. So I've still got my 2 Abrams here and my Bradley CFVs. At this point he doesn't have anywhere to go. I'm just waiting for my my extra starships and my extra Abrams to get to the front line. But he's getting impatient, and I guess at this point I was kind of relieved to actually see him attack me. And he goes ahead and moves his T-64 BMs forwards, but unfortunately both of them get hit in the face by my Bradleys before the Bradleys die. And yeah, basically means that I am allowed to move up onto his position. He decides to bring over some T-55As. They are nicely positioned on the right side here, and because of that do manage to catch out my Abrams in the side. But at this point I'm not too worried about losses. I'm just trying to finish the game. So with that, I brought in an F-15A Eagle, the 2 Thunderbolts and the Prowler, just because I can. And I'm just waiting for this game to finish. My Abrams are having a duel with these T-64 BMs, but with the F-15 Eagle going straight for this Su-25, he has a nice dogfight with him quickly, and that's the end of the game. So there you go, guys. 1,610 points to the 514 of Tico 303. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. That was the first time on that map, and it's the first replay I've done, so hopefully you enjoy my replay commentaries a lot more than my actual live commentaries. I find them a lot easier to commentate because I'm not having to concentrate on actually playing the game. I can just concentrate on commenting on the game, which is a lot easier for me. So hopefully you enjoyed this commentary, hopefully you found it insightful. That Abrams and M3 Bradley combination works very, very well against any packed armor, so make sure you give it a try. If you're having trouble against T-ATUs, for example, that combination can work very, very well because your HGMs from your Abram, or from your Bradley, sorry, will basically help your Abrams win the battle. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.